Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Ashamed Butterfly 373 from the AmIOverreacting subreddit. And it says, am I overreacting for taking a break from my boyfriend after he ripped through a whole turkey at our family Thanksgiving? My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been dating for almost 2 years and living together for 6 months now. I met him through my friend at a house party and we immediately hit it off. He was almost exactly like a guy I wanted, extremely tall and huge with witty jokes, kind and well dressed, and he was absolutely buffed. We vibed throughout the party and exchanged numbers at the end. He's met my family a couple of times after we moved in together, and they absolutely loved him. My grandparents host Thanksgiving dinner almost every year, and we were both invited to it. I thought it would have been lovely to make him meet with them and my other family members too, since my uncle's family would be there too. He had to drop his sister off at his parents' house, a 2-hour drive, and picked up me from our house. It was a 1.5-hour drive to my grandparents' house. Everyone was happy to meet him, and it seemed like they really liked him until we sat down for dinner. We said our grace and Grandpa carved the turkey, started to pass it around the table. It was a regular-sized turkey like we have for every Thanksgiving, enough to feed 12 and still have leftovers. We were 10. Both of us were sitting at the end of the table next to Grandpa, so my boyfriend was the last one to get it. There was still a lot of it left because everyone took a little and would pass around again for more after some time. He placed it right next to him and started digging through the entirety of it. He was so profuse, as my nephew said later, gobbling it up. I told him quietly to go easy, but he did not listen. He started saying how good it was, and my grandma had a huge smile on her face. He was eating just the turkey, and my grandpa said, "Boy, someone really likes turkey." Everyone laughed, but it got to a point where everyone was talking about it. He did not take any hint and just shrugged it off like a teenager. My face turned red from the embarrassment, and I could see everyone was judging us so hard. I could hear my uncle and his wife make unfunny jokes about it. It was finished without getting to anyone again with no leftovers. My boyfriend is a gym freak. He spends ridiculous amounts of time and money on working out, eating protein-rich meals, online courses, etc. He has a set protein limit that he hits every day. Sometimes over it, but never under. He also gets his protein from just the meals, no supplements, so he's used to having large meals. It has never been a problem with me, and I respect his way of living, if not love it. We cook together all the time, and if I'm not in the mood, he happily makes a meal for me. He won't even let me contribute in grocery expenses. Because of him, I started eating healthy and felt a lot better about my lifestyle. After the dinner, we got into a fight while driving home. He said he had been driving all day and didn't eat anything after breakfast, so he had to hit his protein, and that he wasn't enjoying it after some time and had to just shove it down the throat. I said if he was that hungry, I would have happily made him a meal after we had gotten home, but now everyone in my family is going to talk about how you finished something made for the whole family. He thought everyone took their share. What? He got really mad and said I'm blowing this out of proportion and overreacting over a simple meal. I snapped, saying how am I overreacting if I'm just trying to communicate about what he did? It was an hour-long drive, so things got heated up. He kept saying I'm calling him a pig for eating like that and should probably get out of his life if it's such a problem, because he believes he did nothing wrong and isn't going to change himself. He persisted on it even though that wasn't my point. I got so bad that he dropped me at a gas station in the middle of the night and said think about what I just did. I was terrified. I collected myself to call an Uber to my sister's house and sobbed the entire night. I told myself after a week things would get clear. He hasn't texted me, nor did I. I could see how I could have reacted differently, but I can't get myself out over the fact that he just left me stranded in the middle of the night. Am I overreacting, or should I make a move on making things straight? Oh my word, I was just picturing myself at that table while that was going down, just picturing this guy basically digging through a turkey to get all the meat off of it. And for sure, that is going to be embarrassing, but the terrifying thing in this situation is when he dropped you at a gas station in the middle of the night. And the fact that he hasn't even reached out after abandoning you shows that he was more concerned about being right than your safety. Just wild-ass behaviour all around. But a commenter says, you made him feel like a greedy pig because that's how he behaved. You all tried to tell him gently to stop. I guess you should have been more direct. Kick him to the curb, especially since he dropped you at a gas station in the middle of the night. Do you think he might be using steroids to get that angry? OP says, I agree. I should have been more direct, but my thinking at the time was not to escalate it more and be discreet about it. I'm not 100% on the steroid use. I ask him about how his workout was and sometimes give a massage if he's really sore, but that's about it. But lately, he's getting passive aggressive. I just shrugged it off thinking, one of those long days. Draw Next says, girl, he left you stranded. Let's use our brain here. No matter how upset someone gets you, you don't just dump them somewhere. Get out. Normal reply saying, and in the middle of the night. Another commenter says, someone who doesn't take the whole family, or at least all the meals that would be made with turkey leftovers, into account is a selfish dud. Someone who force feeds himself half a turkey so he can hit his macros or whatever, even though he is no longer wanted to and it is making him feel sick, likely has an eating disorder. Someone who isn't going to change himself is a bad partner. Someone who dumps you at a gas station in the middle of the night, on Thanksgiving, is abusive. You're totally in the right and should stay far away from him, even if he apologizes. So many red flags here. Glad you are safe from this dude. Maleficent replies saying, reading this reminded me of the 6-foot sub guy on Am I the Arsehole a while back. Totally 100% selfish. A lot of people rely on leftovers from Thanksgiving in the week after. Then that commenter shared the link to the 6-foot sub guy. We may go into that one again after this just so you guys can keep up with that as well. But OP did come in with an update and says, thank you everyone for all the comments. I did not expect to get this many reactions. It really helped me to hear others' perspectives and seeing how naive I was. Here is an update of what happened after I posted this. I called him to talk about what had happened. The call was answered by a woman whose voice I didn't recognize. Yes, it wasn't his sister. I know her voice very well. When I asked if I could talk to him, she replied, he's in a cardio session. I'll tell him to call you later. I was puzzled after this, so I waited for his call imagining all the worst things, and it turned out to be right. He was cheating on me. He told me he had been seeing her for a couple of months. She works as a coach in the gym that he goes to. I searched her up on Instagram and she is a fitness influencer with a lot of followers. A lot. He said she is a better match for him and will help him grow his career on social media. Yes, he has a fitness channel too, but with nowhere near the amount of followers she has. She had a much better body than me. When asked why didn't he tell me earlier and ended things right there, he said he knew I would overreact and act emotionally immature like I'm doing right now and wouldn't understand him. He has packed my things in boxes and kept them in the garage and told me to collect it or not. He doesn't care and ended the call. I started sobbing uncontrollably. My sister was beside me and comforted me. She said his fitness influencer girlfriend might not even know that we've been dating and he is running after her followers, not her. I started saying he couldn't do that and she replied that I'm in denial and he probably saw the opportunity on Thanksgiving argument and got rid of me, making me think I was the one that caused the end of our relationship. I'm taking my sister and her boyfriend to collect my things this week and probably get closure. Bloody hell. And while it might hurt for this moment in time, it's certainly a bullet dodged in this situation, right? And it does sound like the new girlfriend doesn't know about OP because what the hell would she be with him for after this? But who knows? What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And before we go on to like another main story, I did say we're going to quickly cover the 6-foot sub party guy that was mentioned within the comments. This one was an Am I the Arsehole story from Big Jelly Belly, who says, am I the arsehole because I ate more than my share of a 6-foot party sub last night? It said, what I thought would be a total non-issue has ballooned into a huge problem, and I'm up at 7:05 AM dealing with it. I figured while I wait for a text, I could post here to see if what I did was really that bad. I'm a big fat ass. There's no way around it. I love to eat, which probably borders on addiction, but I figure since I'm only hurting myself, it's probably better to just live my life. I have some great friends, although there is no doubt I'm the harmless, funny token fat guy. of the otherwise pretty good looking group. I guess that sets the stage enough. Last night my friend hosted UFC and I was invited. He got a 6-foot party sub. I also bought homemade wings that are sort of my speciality. Well, of course, people flocked to the food and I had basically one serving of the sandwich, but people devoured my wings and I didn't get to have a single one, which is totally fine. That's why I brought them, but maybe an hour later I was starving. I kept eyeing the sandwich and I'd say there was about 3 feet of it left. I waited an hour, then another half hour, and no one had touched it. But they were still munching on chips, pretzels and whatnot. So I was like, screw it. I took about half of what was left and ate it. Then the last half sat there for another 10 to 15 minutes and no one said anything, so ate the rest. Well, to be sure, as I was swallowing the last bite, the host's girlfriend asked where the sandwich was. Like I was the guilty party, pretty much everyone pointed at me. I guess they'd noticed me eating the sandwich. She was furious and said that I was an incredible pig and that I had been super selfish to eat 3 feet of a sandwich. I felt so bad. I tried to explain to her that I really did wait over an hour and thought people had lost interest. I also tried to explain how everyone had ate my wings and she said something along the lines of, "You brought them to share, Alan. If someone had eaten over half by themselves, that's not fucking sharing, is it?" I offered to order pizza or even go get Subways and she said it was a pathetic offer because the party sub had been from a local shop owned by her friends. I said I was sorry, but the night was so tense from then on out. I woke up this morning to several texts from my twin sister, the host's girlfriend's best friend, saying that I had to get my shit under control and that everyone is really mad at me and that I embarrassed myself last night. I tried to explain to them that what my mindset had been and they haven't responded. Was I the arsehole for eating that much of the sandwich last night? Edit. I guess I've been banned from responding, but my inbox has 1,200 notifications, so I can't find out why. To answer what seems to be the most common misconception, this wasn't a Subway party sub, so definitely not 4 times the size of a regular sub. This is a local place, so it's about 1.5 times the width of a regular sub. It's still a ton of food, don't get me wrong, but I can down 5 Subway footlongs in an afternoon easily. This is probably about the equivalent to that, not 12 like some people are saying. And I won't go into the comments too much, just an overview that it was majority, you're the arsehole with some everyone sucks here thrown in. Some people were feeling sorry for OP because, you know, the way that they talked about themselves at the beginning, saying that he's clearly got an issue of some sort going on. And others saying, you know, he doesn't sound like the worst person in the world. He wasn't intentionally trying to hurt people. But let us know your thoughts on that one. And let's move on to another story from MJ Poll 19 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. This one's got an update, of course, and it says, "Brother didn't invite me to his wedding. Family kept it a secret. I cut them off. Am I the arsehole here?" I have a large family that started falling apart when my parents passed away 11 years ago. I was 19 and my siblings were all much older. Since then, my siblings and I have had a rocky/strained relationships due to various reasons, and I slowly became the outcast of the family. With my brother specifically, things changed when he started dating his now wife and they had a son. He was the first baby in our family. I love babies, so I wanted to be there to help. Things quickly went downhill when they would ask me to babysit for a couple of hours. That turned into 12+ hours. Or a day would turn into a weekend. This happened several times. So I talked to my brother about how I felt about them doing this and how it felt like they were taking advantage. This turned into them telling our family that I thought the baby was a problem and I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. I talked to the rest of my siblings to clear this up, but this changed my relationship with my brother and his family. There were also other situations after this that caused even more of a rift between my brother and I. Since then, I only interacted with my brother and his family at gatherings. From my end, I forgave and still bought them gifts for their birthdays, Christmas, etc. But I never received anything from him. Not a text, a phone call, anything. Fast forward to 3 years later, Thanksgiving Day. My whole family was there, including my brother and his family. Everything seemed normal. I will mention that my relationship with my other siblings had improved a lot over the years and were better. We all had small conversations about the food and discussed Secret Santa participation for Christmas. That was Thursday. On Saturday, I see pictures on social media of what appears to be my family at a wedding, and my brother appears to be the groom. Confused, I take a screenshot and send it to my sisters to ask if our brother had a wedding. They confirm. My brother and I don't have a good relationship. I think it was so bad that he wouldn't invite me to his wedding. My relationships with my other siblings have gotten better, so I thought that someone would have mentioned that our brother was getting married, especially when we were all together just a couple of days prior. Apparently they were all on in this big secret for months without me, and that hurt. It made me feel like even more of an outcast in my family than ever before. This isn't the first time that my family has done something like this. It's been a slew of issues and situations over the past decade, and this was the cherry on top for me. My sisters have reached out to try and explain and apologize. I haven't heard anything from my brothers. So am I the arsehole here for finally cutting things off from my siblings? Now let's face it, they didn't forget to mention it. They was keeping it a secret by choice here because, 2 days prior at the Thanksgiving dinner, nothing was mentioned about it. Again, that's not an oversight, that's a deliberate choice by your family. And it was one thing for the brother not to invite OP. I guess on the back of this whole babysitting thing. Not that OP was wrong in that situation by the sounds of it, but every single sibling kept it hidden from you, which just kind of tells you where they all were in this situation. So no, I don't blame you at all for stepping back. But in the comments, that pie girlie says, "Not the arsehole. I'm so very sorry this happened to you. OP, please take this as a lesson. Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. You forgave your brother, but that doesn't mean he, in his ridiculous mind, forgave you for your alleged crime of putting your foot down over the reasonable request to not offload their kid onto you for longer than agreed upon times. Yes, you are family, but you also have a life and are not a nanny being paid overtime. 1A, they took advantage and made you the villain for setting good and reasonable boundaries. 1B, they then tried to damage your reputation and relationship with the rest of your family by portraying you as this villain. 2, they never reciprocated your olive branches or showed any attempts to be cordial. Not besties, but just cordial by getting you gifts, even though you got them gifts. This should have already been a sign to you that there was no civility or relationship you were going to have with them, and you should have stopped. They showed you who they are then, and they have done so for a final time in a massive way. Please believe them this time and stop trying. 3, as for the rest of your family, what they did was a huge betrayal. Did they honestly think you weren't going to find out about it? To sit there at Thanksgiving and let you be the fool who was none the wiser that there was something they all know that you didn't, that they just weren't talking about, is so cruel. Weddings are chaotic, and these folks deserve Oscars for the performances they put on to keep you in the dark for months, and especially that night so close to the wedding. That is messed up. The deception. Wow. Sure, your sisters apologized, but again, they and the rest of the family have shown you who they are, so please, OP, please believe them. Cut them off and go no contact with a guilt-free conscience. Not the arsehole. Delete them off social media. They don't get to monitor you and have access to see what you're up to when they lied to you for months about a pretty major event. They don't get access to know what you're up to in your life anymore. Block them on social media. These people don't get birthday messages, happy holidays, New Year's, nada. Silence on your end. Stop being nice and trying. Just stop. You'll only make a fool of yourself and end up hurt. Cut them off and move on with your life. If you can, find a good therapist and do individual counseling. Remember, finding a good therapist is like dating. Just because one doesn't work well with you doesn't mean all therapy is shit. Just keep looking until you find the right match. It'll help you process and heal from this betrayal. Go live your life with people who would not deceive you in this way. Rooting for you. So OP does update the post and says, "Hi all, thanks again for the advice and thoughts. You are all right. I should have stopped this a long time ago. Being Latina, family is extremely important in our culture, and if you try to distance yourself from their toxicity, you're made to feel guilty or like the arsehole. Not just in this situation, but so many others that have happened throughout the years. And for those wondering, our ages range from 25 years from the oldest sibling to the youngest. I'm the second youngest, and our youngest sibling, Sister L, was also not invited or told about this. Basically, all of our issues with our older siblings are related to the age gaps and different ways of thinking, views, and opinions. I do believe that the rest of my siblings were not told to mention anything, to agree that they were in a tough position, but like I said, we were all in a good place lately, so all of this just caught me completely by surprise. To be honest, if he or one of my siblings would have ever given me a heads up that he was having a wedding, just so I wouldn't be blindsided, I'd still appreciate the honesty. Sure, I'd be hurt, but it's his day and his choice, which I would have respected because I'm not one for drama and attention. I was mostly hurt about finding out afterwards on social media and knowing they were all in on it, especially after just spending time together a couple of days before and thinking everything was fine. As of today, almost 3 weeks later, I've heard nothing from any of my brothers. I did respond to my sisters and express my feelings. Sister A's response, "I'm sorry you feel that way." I didn't respond to her after that because I knew I wouldn't get anywhere. Sister's B response actually acknowledged that it was wrong and apologized for her part in it. I accepted her apology, but I felt like I can't trust her after everything that's happened. So I've decided I'm going no contact with all of them. I've blocked them all on social media and their phone numbers. I cancelled the Secret Santa event in the app that we use. Eventually, I may go low contact with Sister B, but need some time and space to be able to make a solid decision. My family has been the biggest source of my stress and anxiety over the years. I've been to therapy on and off for the past several years dealing with my issues, and definitely recommend to anyone going through something similar. An appointment to talk through this might be a great Christmas gift to myself this year. At this point, I feel like I've been through the 5 stages of grief dealing with this. I wasn't just grieving the loss of my parents, but also grieving the family that once were when our parents were here, because they were the glue that held us together. Ultimately, this is me finally accepting what we've become. Besides my family, the past couple of years have been the happiest I've ever been. My husband's family accepted me as one of their own, and I feel like they truly care about my well-being. So I'm focusing my time and energy on them. Sister L and the family that I'm creating with my family. Hopefully, it'll be better than the one I was born into. Audacious says to OP, "I'm sorry you feel that way" is a fake apology, not the arsehole. Slothfulness says it is infuriating because it puts the burden on the receiver, as if it's their fault for feeling that way rather than the speaker's fault for causing those feelings. I can't imagine having the audacity to say that. It's like if you punch someone in the face and they react with, "What the hell is wrong with you? That really hurt." And you go, "I'm sorry you feel hurt," and walk away. No real acknowledgement of harm, no accountability, nothing. AB Witch says, "As a fellow Latina, it's wild to me you didn't get invited, as weddings are such a big deal / party." I apologize about the pronunciation about this next part. I did try to look it up, but I wasn't really getting anywhere. Mandelos todos a la chingada and live your life. Again, I'm sorry. Commenter says, "Not the arsehole. Your brother actively orchestrated a life of omission. And the fact that family is now trying to guilt you for reacting to blatant disrespect shows their toxicity isn't limited to him. Cutting him off wasn't the reaction. Being cut out of their lives by secret behaviour was the action they took. You have every right to protect yourself from people who think you are optional until they need social proof. Cherish the silence." And I'm with the commenter on this, like people who's got the audacity to say, "Sorry you feel that way." How can you sit there and say that with a straight face? The cheeky bastard. But I gotta say for OP, I think over time when this starts to become their new normal, things are going to start to feel a lot better for OP. As I said, this has been a big source of their stress and anxiety for them. So whilst that's sad for OP, this has been their normal. Their family's been their normal for their whole life. But over time, I imagine this is going to change their life once the stress and anxiety is removed. I got no doubt they're going to be in contact with OP and, at least a couple of them asking what's going on here, etc. But I really hope that OP does stand his ground on this. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.